can't hear you.
Can't
hear
you.
He's muted himself again. He just said he wasn't going to mute himself.
I wasn't going to do that, and I don't do this. It is the system. Ever since we've gone to this dual format mode, it doesn't unmute my mic when the video finishes playing, so I need to make sure I check. So apologies. Let's start again. I won't do silly backup noises, but anyway, here we go. Welcome to the Pro Synth Network live show. It is episode 296. It is the 5th of December. It's almost Christmas. Welcome to the show, and thank you ever so much for joining us once again. I hope you're all well since last we met. Of course, last week we had a great show with the Cherry Audio guys and the Mercury 8. So we do encourage you to go back and check that out. We are, as I've just said, we're broadcasting in the dual format mode. So if you're wondering why we're vertical on your big screen, you probably clicked on the wrong link. So there's one that's called vertical, and there's the other one. So choose the one that suits you best. We're still sort of testing it. We're getting some decent numbers on the vertical stuff, so we might keep it, but we'll see. You know, we'll maybe do a proper poll in the new year to find out exactly what people think. But anyway, that's what we'll do, and that's how we are. We've got a brilliant guest again with us this week. He's been on the show before, and he's come to tell us all about a fantastic event that we'll give you some more details on in just a moment. And of course, to talk all things synthesizer. But until we get to that point, let me just get rid of the housekeeping first of all. So if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. It does help us immensely that you subscribe, and the benefits are mutual. So we get we get that warm fuzzy feeling that people like what we do, and you get notified, if you want to, of every show that's happening, whether it's a live show or a special that we throw out there every now and again. You can also share the link around to your friends and your family. That would be great. And just let them know that we do what we do. If you want to comment throughout the show, then we welcome that greatly. So if you're on YouTube, you can comment using the YouTube chat. Make sure you turn the chat to live chat to make sure you're getting the chat as it actually happens and not the best of greatest hits. So make sure you do that. Also, if you're watching on Facebook, you can comment below the video. And if you're watching on Twitch, you can do much the same there as well. And give us a like. If you're enjoying the show during the show, watching it live, then give us a thumbs up, because apparently that massages the algorithm favourably in our favour. So yeah, if you could do that, that would be fantastic. We are as I always say, we're a community-led and community-focused channel. We're not for profit. So we have to pay for everything ourselves, and we ask that if you feel you want to donate and help us in that endeavour, then you can do in a number of ways. One of the first things that you can do is you can maybe join us at our Patreon page, where for a couple of dollars a month minimum, you get access to loads of free goodies, such as decent sampler instruments and presets for your hardware and software synthesizers. You get ad-free videos. You get exclusive content on there as well. There's quite a bit on there now. I'm very surprised at how much we've got on there, and a lot of that stuff has been generated by you guys as well. So we've got patches from the likes of Mark Barnes and James Dyson. We've got decent sampler instruments courtesy of Ger Hughes. We've got lots of other things as well, including all the Synthspirations videos are all listed up there, so you can go and pick and choose. So Patreon's a really, really cool way of supporting us. And you can also do the same with YouTube channel membership. It gets you the same deal. You get all of those freebies. But if you want to just pay through YouTube, you can do the same as well. If you become a YouTube channel member, you then get access to a new tab on the screen where you can go and check all of that free stuff out. Another way you can support us, of course, is through our merchandise store. So you can buy t-shirts like these, and other accoutrements and garments and all sorts of lovely things. Of course, they make wonderful Christmas presents, but get in quick, because obviously it's getting close to the day. But you can buy merchandise of all sorts of things there, and we're able to take a few pennies off the top of each sale, and that all goes to keeping the channel running. So that's how you can support us, either through YouTube, Patreon, or through our merchandise store. If you want to see or speak to people, or you suppose you can see them as well, because we do have video channels on there. We do have our own Discord now. So there it is on the screen. Everything here is just ProSynth Network, ProSynthNetwork.com/Discord, merch, or Patreon. The Discord channel is there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and people are exchanging information, ideas, music, all sorts of things going on there. So if you feel that way inclined, you can do so. And of course, we are across all of the social media, or most of them anyway, the decent ones. YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And the handle on all of those is at ProSynth Network. As I mentioned before, please do get involved in the chat. And if you have a question for anybody on the show today, whether it's the panel, and we have a full panel today, or whether it's for our guest, then please do preface your question with a capital Q. Stick a question mark on the end as well, because that helps the system. Just pop it into the pot, and then we can pick those out at an appropriate time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the housekeeping. I think we're all done there. So let's get rid of those and start to bring in the wonderful people we've got on the panel today. Before I do, just a quick shout out to Steve Elbows, and I'm not sure if Andy is in the chat room as well, but these guys are our moderators in the chat. They have a very easy life because you're all very well behaved. But the moderators there to keep everything in order. So if you see something that's that shouldn't be there, do let them know. Right, let's bring in the panel. First of all, let's he turned up late, so I'm going to go to him first because I always like to embarrass those that turn up late. Let's see, we bring him in. Mr. Kent Spong, how are you?
Embarrassed. No, I've just been fighting a gazebo out in the back garden.
Okay. Was it
it's got very windy.
Oh, it's windy. Right,
it's
okay. You were just
very
angry
windy.
with it.
Oh, no. Well, I am angry with it for what it did to the boot lid. So, yeah. So I've just been out in the rain trying to...
Oh, you've got rain. We've not got rain here.
Oh, no, rain and gusting up to 45 mile an hour.
Oh, lovely. I hope that's all gone by tomorrow.
Yeah, so do I.
Yes. Other than that, well...
Yes, not too bad.
Good.
I had a run-in with a CS70.
Okay, who won?
Yeah, well, I got a bigger hammer, so I did. So
Okay.
it's the only way you can... They got a nose,
Yes.
boss. That's it. Oh, dear.
Anyway, well,
Yeah.
good to see you. And of
And
course,
you.
I'll be seeing you a little, well, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
About lunchtime, I think, depending on
Yeah.
what time I get up. Good to see you, as always. Moving along the line here, all the way up in sunny Scotland. I'm assuming it's sunny in Scotland. Tell us, what's the weather like there?
It's bloody awful, mate.
Is it? Is it not
Yeah,
very good?
it's not nice up here just now. No, it's been very wet and windy all week. So,
Oh, dear.
yeah, nothing really changes now. It's like the summer's long gone. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, steady old week. Mostly trying to get this puppy trained.
Oh, of course, yeah, you've got a
that
brand
we've
new puppy.
inherited this week. Yeah. So, but no, it's been a busy week with that little guy. So not a great deal of sound design done this week. He's eaten up a bit of our time this week. But yeah,
Probably
so
eating up a lot of things. If it's
well,
a puppy.
he's actually been pretty good, to be fair.
Oh.
He seems to be sticking to his toys, which is good so
Oh,
far.
that's
so
good. That's
that
good.
has
You
shown
said
us
it was a
slippers.
rescue.
It was, yeah. It was friends
that's
of ours were on holiday over in Greece and found him in a ditch.
No way.
And he was on, yeah. And this ditch wasn't near houses. It was like Sharon sent me like a Google Street View map where he was found.
Mm-hmm.
And he built his own nest. He's only, well, we reckon 4 months because his baby teeth are just starting to fall out now. So goodness knows how long he'd been there. But she said it looked like people had been throwing like sandwiches and packets of crisps and things out to him. But that was all he had to eat. And he had a wise road sense, she was saying, because he'd built himself a sort of little nest himself, and rather than crossing this main road to go and get the food that people were throwing out to him, he was actually going down and under a bridge and through a river to stay away from the cars. Clever little cookie. So so they got him into a shelter in Greece, who then shipped him to Holland, and then the friends of ours went over to Holland to pick him up a week past Saturday there, and I kind of got, not guilt-tripped, but gently persuaded into, come on, you've already got a shepherd, because he's a mix between a shepherd with thinking a Belgian Malinois. But we've just had a DNA test done on him, so we'll find out exactly what's in him in a few weeks. So, but no, he's been as good as gold, so it's keeping us busy.
Excellent stuff. Good to see you, mate, as always.
And you.
moving down the line, Mr. Andrew Longhurst. Wakey, wakey. Unmute yourself. Don't do a Rob.
As if.
There you go. How are you?
Yeah. I'm all right. I was a little late in. I was trying to catch this gazebo flew into the garden. I'm trying to pin it down. I don't know, had a boot lid on it or something. Yeah. Otherwise good. Otherwise good. It's been the weather up here is pretty awful as well. So yeah, windy and rainy and bits of snow and yeah.
I've not had snow yet.
But I suppose it's winter. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's coming that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ordered some wood, so hopefully, real fires and all that kind of stuff.
Soon be Christmas, then it will soon be the New Year, and then it will soon be spring.
Get some nuts in. Hurrah.
Anyway, good to see you as always. Moving further down the line, we haven't seen him for a little while. It's Jason Jervis.
Jason Jervis.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's been a busy old time at my day job, so I feel like a little bit of a shadow of my former self, but I'm still plodding on. Cats are still driving me crazy as one's just barking at my legs. But yeah, been good. Yeah, well, my phone thinks Jackson is... Oh, hello. Have I unplugged? Oh, yeah, I've unplugged myself. My phone thinks Jackson's a dog, so, look at that. But yeah, he'll be around for that. But yeah, been good. So lots of
just throw the cat in the corner.
You would want to throw that. That was not a pleasant...
You said, you disturbed him. You manipulated. You massaged that one out. Yeah. I'll leave you to deal with that one. Thankfully, my sense of smell ain't so good anymore, so we're not getting that over here. Brilliant. Great to see you, as always. Thanks for joining. And I'm glad we've got you here, because out of all of us, you are probably the modular expert. And so that kind of gives a clue as to who our guest is this week. And we're delighted to be joined by this gentleman once more. I could go through his CV. I'd be here for a very long time. But the reason he is here with us today is because the Bob Moog Foundation has just announced another one of their amazing raffles, and it is the second time that they have put together an incredible modular Eurorack modular system, which is valued at around $24,000 US. And you could win this simply by buying raffle tickets for this raffle. And this has been curated and assembled by, lovingly no less, than the one and the very only Chris Meyer. Welcome to the show, sir. Now, before we do anything else, I need to tell everyone that this is not a virtual backdrop. This is Chris's amazing studio that was finished, this year?
Last year, actually.
Last year, yeah. It's what a space that is. That is incredible. Yeah. Is that
I'm really
full Atmos system you've got in there? Or?
Yeah, I have a full Atmos system around me down here in the mix end. It's a 714 system. And then down at the other end, where the instruments and the live performance system is, I have a quad monitoring system down there. So.
Oh, wow.
There's about half the gigs I play are in quad as well, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because that's really good with electronic music, is multi-channel sound. That's fantastic.
I think the electronic music's the best for spatial audio, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, because it can be so detailed, and maybe we'll talk about that later. But whilst we are at the top of the show, we must, of course, start off with the Bob Moog Foundation Eurorack. Before we do, have you been well since last we spoke? And have you been up to anything apart from this that's of interest?
It's been a busy year. I mean, we started on this year's modular system December of last year, so that we could start talking to people at NAMM and Buchla and Friends, and of course Superbooth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's been a year-long project. I was one of the music directors on the Alan R. Perlman music compilation, Soul of the Machine, and that was about a year-long effort as well. And it's been mainly a lot of gigging this year. I played about 10, 11 gigs so far this year. I'm playing again tomorrow night, last gig of the year. And it's been ironic. I've got this lovely new studio we built last year, and most of my time has been spent in the 6-foot circle of my live performance rig, rehearsing for gigs rather than using the rest of the studio. So I've promised myself next year is a studio year.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about this this raffle because say it's another Bob Moog Foundation raffle, and you buy a ticket, and if you're lucky enough, you win the prize. And actually, there's three main categories of prize this year, but the top prize is rather remarkable. Let me just add this to the stage. So this is the system that you can win, and we'll be asking Chris about this in detail, but it's all of these modules in this amazing walnut case, plus you get loads of controllers, including a Roli Seaboard in there as well, and there's some Drumcat stuff in there, there's a Touché. I mean, this is everything you need. And are those aerials on the end, are they kind of like theremin type things, or is that purely decoration?
It's exactly what they are. They're a pair of Doepfer theremin modules.
Wow.
Because, of course, Bob got his start by selling theremin kits.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the history of Bob, and the theme of this year's machine is what would Bob do?
Of course.
Is we looked at Bob's history of what he did and what he was interested in and what he wrote columns about. And we said we need to include all of those influences in this year's machine.
Yeah.
So particularly in the controllers, we started with the theremins because that's what he sold kits of originally. Ribbon controllers, everyone knows. And we've got a lovely Biopower axe and razor, but also a Bela Gliss as well. And he was really into multi-touch keyboards as well. He was one of the pioneers in that field. So we got the Roli Seaboard 2 hooked up through Expert Sleeper's interface. And we've got the Drumcat because there was percussion controllers with the original modular system.
Yeah.
And we've got the Touché because it's lovely. And a couple other manufacturers kind of got onto our alternate controllers idea and also donated things. ADDAC has a heart sensor that we have in this unit. And Erica donated a joystick controller as well. So
excellent.
Unusual, I think the modular synth has a lot of controllers, so you can really milk a lot out of notes, not just sequence notes.
So excuse my ignorance here, because as I'm famously I'm famously known for not being that modulary. So we've got this thing. What is this thing at the front here? There's kind of like a metal strip with a box with some knobs on. What's
that
going
is a
on there?
ribbon controller.
That is a ribbon controller.
Yeah, what you're seeing primarily there are there's a lot of left controls for sensitivity and things like that. And to the left, there's actually a couple finger touch pads you can use as well. But then to the right is a long ribbon you can go ahead and slide along to generate control voltages for pitch or filter cutoffs or whatever you want. And of course, Keith Emerson famously used ribbon controllers with his modular.
Yeah.
Ribbon controllers have been part of other machines like CS80s and things like that. So we really wanted to have a nice ribbon controller as part of this system.
Yeah. It seems like you've got all the controllers going on there. It's an amazing collection of modules. There's even a Moog music module in here. It's the Labyrinth, am I right?
There's Labyrinth, right? Because if we're going to talk about Bob, the company bearing his name is still around today.
Yeah.
And they've been continuing to create some interesting new products. And the Labyrinth was a real break from tradition from them, where they have a stage variable filter instead of the transistor ladder filter. They've got wavefolders and ring mod and a couple probabilistic sequencers. And it's just a really experimental instrument for Moog. And we, of course, had to include that to show the trajectory that Moog has been on, for the past 60 years.
Yeah. So I've got to ask, where did you start? Because this is an incredible system. I mean, you mentioned that, yourself and Michelle had been going out and about sourcing, the donations of these things. Were you just looking to get hold of anything you could, or were you asking for specifics, that stuff?
Oh, yeah, very specific. Each of the raffle machines so far has had a theme. So the theme of this year's system was, what would Bob do? And we primarily looked at two things: his interest in alternate controllers, which started with the original machines and then carried up his later career. But also, Bob wrote a lot of columns for Keyboard Magazine discussing other synthesis techniques. So he talked about sampling, resynthesis, additive synthesis, FM, phase distortion, granular synthesis, Karplus, strong, bosom. He wrote about all these things in his keyboard column, educating other people about them. So we went down and listed, look, we need to have a module or two of each of these different synthesis techniques Bob talked about. And so that was the beginning point in the controllers, but also what are all the synthesis techniques Bob wrote about in his columns? Make sure they're well represented in this instrument, then worry about fleshing it out to make a really robust modular orchestra with all the other envelope generators and LFOs and filters and things you're going to need.
Mm-hmm. How much planning goes into how you put this thing together? Because you've got a lot of room there. What's the thought processes behind where you put specific modules?
Yeah, months literally months of planning go into it, and there's a lot of rearranging. There's a wonderful site that our modular people use called modulargrid.net.
That's right. Yeah.
Where you can prototype a system by saying this is how big it is, throw the modules up in there. They have little facsimiles of every single module made, it seems. And you just start seeing how the system lays out. And I'm very much a signal flow type person where I believe in having things like sequencers up top, sound sources, filters, move down to modulation and envelopes, and then VCAs, then move down to mixing and effects to get it out of the system. So there's a lot of planning that goes into not just picking modules that represent each of the functions that we want in here, but also picking proper sizes to try to optimize the amount of space and make sure we can get everything in here. I mean, for example, there was a percussion controller with the original modular system, so we had to have a percussion controller with this one. But if you have a percussion controller, it's probably MIDI, so you need a MIDI to trigger interface. Okay, now that you got triggers, what are you going to trigger with it? So we have a couple of drum sound modules in there. We have the Mod Bap Trinity, and also we have the quad drum from BPM DE. So it's just this thought process of, if we have this, it's going to need this, and then what's that going to connect to? And we really have to think out what signal flows are for these systems.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a million times before, modular is not my thing, but this is an incredibly impressive thing. But of course, the beauty of this is that if the winner gets this and doesn't like a particular configuration, that's of course the beauty of Eurorack. They can move things around, add or subtract, and do whatever. But it's an incredible. Would you say that this is aimed at an experienced modular user, or I'm buying tickets, and if I win, which I probably won't, but if I did, could I, with my rudimentary, ordinary synthesizer mind, work my way around one of these?
This system is certainly biased towards a more modern user compared to one who's done strictly analog East Coast type synthesis. There's all these different synthesis techniques, etc. That said, I've made a point of making it accessible to beginners. Like, we have a Moog semi-modular system that you can use without patching anything. We have an analog dual oscillator that can do its own FM internally. We have traditional filters and envelopes and LFOs. So you can construct a traditional East Coast analog voice if you want to. But today, a lot of synthesists are used to working in all these different techniques like FM and phase distortion and granular, etc. So there's modules in this system for those who are more advanced users and who might have a bias thinking that modular is strictly analog and old school. No, modular is really cutting edge these days. So we look at it as an instrument that a beginner can certainly start with, but an experienced user is not going to exhaust this system for a few years because it's really deep.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks that way. I'm just going to divert slightly to... Let me just throw this up on the screen, because I do love a bit of good woodwork, and this is an amazing cabinet. The vent holes. I mean, some people would have just put slats in there. This is a gorgeous design in its own right, with the is it brass mesh or something behind?
Yeah, there's a brass mesh inside as well. Yeah, Chris Perryman of Gold Splinter is a woodworker based out of Asheville, North Carolina, same place the Bob Moog Foundation is and the Museum is. And after the devastation they got hit with Hurricane Helene last year, Michelle Moog Kusa really wanted us to use a local woodworker if we could. And Chris Perryman's done stuff for the Museum in the past. This is his first modular case he's ever done, and he's just knocked it out of the park.
Wow.
This beautiful walnut.
Gorgeous.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Modular Synth Labs donated the black rail systems, things like that. But one of Chris Perryman's touches, particularly if you go to his Gold Splinter woodworking site, are these random size holes. I said, one, you have to do the holes, but two, that's going to help us with ventilation. So we've done those on the sides, we've done them on the lower front, and then there's a slat along the top back for the air to escape. So it's very nice for passive cooling.
Just trying to find, there is a shot
That
around
reminded me of.
the back.
Nice way.
There it is. That's the rear of the unit there, is it? Oh, that's
the inside. That's the inside.
The inside looking from the front, isn't it, with the power rails and everything?
Yeah, it's top-notch power. John Lothink of Genus Modu did the power for this system. He makes the quietest bus boards for distributing power I've ever heard in Eurorack. He hooked us up at Dytron, who makes medical-grade power supplies. They donated power supplies. He put together this beautiful bus bar system with 12-gauge wire. It's the most brilliant power system you're going to find in a modular system. So it's just really top-notch.
And of course, the lovely finishing touch there with the BMF logo,
Yes.
which looks gorgeous.
I was
it's
just
a beautiful machine.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
looking. I was just looking on the raffle site, and there's a link to the modular grid net, which has. I've just put up. I've shared it on screen just to the left there. It's there available. So you could. I just wondered if you wanted to talk us through any of these modules.
Well, there's like over 50 modules, and we might be here while that's what you want.
I think it's nice that people get the option to actually have a look at it in this way, because obviously
Yes.
pictures are fantastic and you can see the full, the glory of the wooden case and everything. But actually being able to log in and see each individual module, if you were so inclined, you could start moving those modules around.
Yeah, you can rearrange it if you want. The lovely thing about modular grid is you're seeing there, if you hover your mouse over any component, you can click through on the eye, the info button, and get more information about any of those modules to understand what it's like. But yeah, we can do some quick run through in the system. On the top left and right, we put the Doepfer antennas for the Theremin controls. And I was having fun with the patch, using one for volume and one for pitch like you traditionally do. It was a lot of fun. Moog Labyrinth in the upper right corner. That's one of their new semi-modulars, 2 sequencers, interesting voice structure. And then to the left of that is the 512 vector sequencer, which is like my personal favorite. This is what I use in all my stuff. There's 8 parts to it. It's MIDI and CV gate output. It's an incredibly flexible sequencer, but it has an analog sequencer type interface with a knob per step, really beautiful display. So I think it's a nice crossover from the old analog stuff to modern digital. On the second row, I put in most of the sound sources, and we kind of started on the left with FM. We have a traditional dual analog oscillator that can do FM from Weston. RYK donated this wonderful little FM algo thing. It's a 4 algorithm FM synthesizer, and those little red dots actually show you the wiring between the different parts in the algorithm, who's doing the feedback paths, etc. Lovely user interface.
I understand that.
Sounds so good.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant interface he came up with. So that's why I chose that to represent FM in the system. But I didn't go just for the big manufacturers. I wanted to see what was the best representation of each of these things to get this into the system.
Good.
Front and center is the Spectrophone from Make Noise. This is one of the 2 different resynthesizer modules we have inside here. It's a wavetable oscillator in its own right, but can also resynthesize signals coming through it. To the right of that is a Chaos Devices Odessa, one of my favorite additive synthesizers. Instead of making you deal with each partial on your own, it has all sorts of different interesting groupings that you can morph between, which is a lot of fun. To the right of that is a Carplus Strong, typical bucket bait brigade device, feedback loop pluck sound. The Sizzle is from ALM. That is a CZ voice, Casio CZ type bass distortion voice. And then to the right is a Loquacious Ateritas from Noise Engineering. It has VOSIM, but also summation synthesis, and I forget what the third one is inside there. But a lot of the different synthesis techniques. Oh, phase distortion as well. So it talked about a few different synthesis techniques that Bob was into. Then on the third row, far left, Bob talked about sampling. And my personal favorite Eurorack sampling module is the Bitbox from 1010, because it had gorgeous touchscreen, big display. I don't know why manufacturers keep putting these tiny displays in these modules.
Yeah.
If you think we're using miners, or some sort of jeweler's head. But I love the Bitbox. It has a nice big touchscreen, beautiful display.
Yeah.
It does granular synthesis as well, by the way.
Yes.
To the right of that
is I've got the standalone version of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The black boxes are great. I have a black box and Bitbox both. Then we have the Rossum Panharmonium, which is a different type of resynthesis module. For those who are kind of into collectory type of stuff, this was the first black panel Panharmonium that they ever made, and it's signed by Dave Rossum on the back.
Oh wow. Nice.
Yeah. I believe in having oscilloscopes in all of my modular systems to help figure out what's going on. So Tall Dog donated a nice little DSO2 dual traced oscilloscope that's right in the center of the system there. For utility modules, there's this open source module called Ornament and Crime, which runs many different little applets. And to the right of the scope is a version of Ornament and Crime from Plum Audio that has a bunch of extra features like trigger buttons and attenuators. Again, I have like 10 Ornament and Crimes between my 2 different systems. So obviously I'm a fan of that. You got to have multiples and also the ability to sum together signals. So we have a Frap Tools 333, which is one of my favorite multiple systems. We got the Mezcal, which has all sorts of interesting logic. But then we get into the filter section. It opens up with a nice little oscillator from Pittsburgh right in front of it. You can do either clean mixing or do some saturation. It has mute buttons for each channel. It's a nice little oscillator mixer.
Yeah.
Then we have a few different filters. Bubble Sound did the LP40, a classic low pass using the type of chips we would hear from 70s era synthesizers. Then on the other end, we have a digital stereo filter from the Endorphins crew, which is a lot of fun. It includes a transistor ladder model inside of it. And then a really strange filter is the Granity from Clavis. It uses granular synthesis, but applies it to filters rather than sound sources. And it can actually switch between different filter outputs on every cycle of the waveform.
Wow.
And it's a very different application of granular. And since Bob talked about granular, had to have that inside the system. Yeah. And then on the far right is another interesting low-pass filter from Look Mum No Computer called the Filter And it's their idea of taking a low-pass filter, but really pushing it so it acts differently depending what type of signal you put into it, interesting distortion, etc. Yeah. Then the row before that, we started getting a little bit more utilitarian. We've got a pair of Expert Sleepers FH2 modules, which are the interface for the Roli Seaboard. And I'm the one who programmed that module actually to go ahead and get the aftertouch, the velocity, the pitch, the wave movement along the keys, the 3 sliders, the XY pad, all of those up on control voltages that they then send to other modules. Nice. To the right of the pretty colored jacks is the interface for the ribbon controller from Biopower. It's the axe and razor interface. Then we have the heart sensor from ADDAC. It comes with a little clip-on you can clip onto your finger, and you can actually set your tempo based on your heart rate, etc.
Wow.
It's very fun. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with this system and alternate controllers. The nice goldy-looking module is a Gliss from Bela. That nice gold surface is a touch slider, but it also is a CV recorder. So you can go ahead and record movements on it, and then it'll play those back continuously as a loop for to create your own complex modulations. To the right of that is the ErikaSense joystick controller, the black joystick. So it can be used as a quad panner, but it also is its own drone sound source, so you can play like an instrument. And it also has its own LFOs built in, and you can go ahead and control the LFOs from the joystick as well. So it's a really flexible little joystick module. To the right of that, the little slender module, you have to have noise inside of these systems. So this does colored noise, it's a sample and hold, it's a track and hold. It's from the Zlob modular. So we had to have track and hold, sample and hold. I made sure I had to have all the classic modular functions inside here, so that's why it's inside there. And then a pair of modules from a combination of Instro, speaking of Scotland, and DivKit, Ben Wilson, as you know him. Is AUX 8-channel LFO and the expander for it. So make sure we have. Yeah. When I put together a modular system, I like it to be able to do about 4 voices or so. So I want to make sure there's enough modulation and envelopes to service all of those voices. That's the reason I picked the DivKit AUX to have lots of LFOs. Then in the middle, there's a Frapp Tools Felistre, which is a little bit of a West Coast vibe. The pair of function generators, they can be looped up to audio rates. It has a nice function that you can change the slope on the attack and the decay, and it'll keep the duration the same. So if you're using it as an oscillator, it won't change pitch as you change the wave shape. Nice little design idea. It has some other utilities. It has a couple flip-flops. It has a ring modulator in it and a couple slews in it as well. So pretty flexible. And then a couple more utility modules. We got the Mirror Instruments Truth and analog computations module there as well. You got to have logic when you're working with triggers. So that's why it's included in there. And then we get into some more traditional type of modular stuff. We have the tip-top MISO as a mix, invert, scale, and offset. A typical voltage processor if you need to invert stuff or flip them around or whatever. A dual ADSR from Doepfer, including a voltage control over all the duration times on it, followed by an ADSR from Tip Top that has voltage control over every single stage. So there's three ADSRs there and 2 ADs with the Felistre, so lots of envelopes inside this guy. Mystic Circuits gave us one of their 3D VCAs. So it can do stereo panning, it can do quad panning, it can act as a normal VCA, it can do crossfading. It's a super flexible VCA. And since I'm doing quad these days, I wanted to have a quad-based module in there as well. And then there's a saying among modular people that you can never have enough VCAs. So on the right is the Erogenous Tones VC8.
Erogenous Tones.
It's a great name. It's an octal VCA, 8 VCAs, individually addressable, but they're sub-mixed, so you can go ahead and use it as a mixer as well. Wow. So it's a really fun module. I've had one of those. And then on the bottom row, we'll go over to the left. There's a MIDI to trigger that Erica Synth donated, and I've programmed that to work with the Kat multi-pad, including their pedals and the different functions of the hi-hat pedals, so you get all those different trigger outputs from it. Mm-hmm. You want to bring in external signals, so Instruo gave us a, I'm going to pronounce this wrong.
Gaelic.
The Scottish among us will know how to pronounce that correctly. But it's a stereo input module with envelope follower, etc. It can even be controlled and switched with a foot switch, and Roland donated a Boss Dual Footswitch to control that module with. Then we had a couple of drum modules for the Kat drum pad, the Trinity, which is 3 different types of synthesis techniques from ModBap, and then the quad drum, which is 4 different types of techniques from BPME. So lots of different drum sounds between those 2 modules. If you don't feel like drumming and you just want to pull up drum patterns, in the middle is a microgrids. It's a version of the grids pattern sequencer that's been in Eurorack for several years now. And it's my favorite pattern generator because you can easily morph between different patterns. It has what it calls a chaos function, where you can go off and do basically fills or variations, but it always comes back to the original pattern. And that's what a lot of random modules, in my opinion, are missing, is they go in a random direction, then another random direction, and another random direction, and then don't recapitulate the main theme. But you can with microgrids. That's why I like that particular one.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, and I use it also, by the way, to drive steps in my sequencer too. So I use rhythmic patterns to drive the steps of my sequences, which you can do with the vector sequencer.
Yeah.
And Actor later donated a bunch of stuff. They donated their Bartender 4 input mono or stereo per channel mixer, and their bar back expander, 2 more channels. There's a pair of stereo effects sends and returns. It has its own output and headphone jack. And then, of course, since it had 2 sends, we had to put 2 effects modules in here. So Endorphins donated a Milky Way, which is a stereo multi-effects unit. I particularly like the reverbs in that one. It's got a nice shimmer reverb, etc. And then to the right of that is a Typhoon that After later donated. It's a update on the old Mutable Instruments Clouds granular synthesis module with a lot of additional controls and alternate firmwares installed in it as well. And then finally, we've got the Bastel Instruments Chow, which is their output module. Not only is it balanced output or 3.5 millimeter output, it also has 2 different inputs and a cue. So you can actually be cueing and listening to a different voice in your instrument through the headphones while outputting a different voice. And that's essential for live performance. And I thought that was a particularly nice output module, and that's why I included that one in there.
Yeah.
So that's the high-speed version of what's all in this system.
Wow.
Nice.
And breathe.
How
That
lost
is-
were you, Robbie?
I get most of it. I do get most of it. I know that the thing is, when this lands with the winner, within hours probably, you won't be able to see most of that because it'll be hidden behind a mess of cables and stuff. But I guess that's the whole point.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, Luigi's donated another 100. Luigi's donated over 100 patch cables as well. So it comes
wow.
patch
So yeah,
cables.
to literally out of the box, you can get going with this.
Yeah.
And what about for the other 4 rows?
So, a curious question, and you may or may not know the answer. When this ships to wherever it goes, will you be disassembling it and they have to reassemble it, or will it be packed as it is?
All of the modules will already be installed.
Excellent. So, literally,
The
they
ribbon
don't have
controller
pages.
does come in a little carrier that is removable. They'll probably pull that out when they ship it. It's just
Sure.
2 pins and slide to the case. Or if you're not into ribbon controllers, slide it out and sell it on. I heard someone say, I don't like this module. I'm like, look, I did not glue the modules in place. You can go ahead and swap out whatever you want or something you prefer that you personally vibe with. I've had other people say, I don't want to pay the taxes on it. Sell off the bits that you don't want and keep the rest of it. I mean, that's the lovely thing about it being a modular system.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned this year, not only do we have that crazy first prize, we have second and third prizes too.
Yeah. So the second prize is this. Let me just take the other one off screen. Add this. So an Osmos.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, Expressive E donated to Touché for the main system, an Osmos for the second prize, and their Noisy 2 MPE software for the third prize.
Yeah.
So Expressive E really stepped up this year as well.
Yeah.
It's really
Didn't they just?
They're a great team. So, am I right? This is the first time there's been like a main prize and then some runners-up prizes in a BMF.
to the
raffle?
best we can recall. This is the first time there's been multiple prizes. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so it increases your chances. And of course, you can increase your chances even more by simply buying lots more tickets. And the more you buy, the bigger the discount.
Typically, it's people who buy multiple tickets who do win. By the way.
Yeah. That stands to reason. If you want to see this in inaccurate sort of photographs, then all of these are available on the foundation's raffle page, and you can see close up what's going on there and everything that Chris has just described. Yeah. But also, you can check out this on the website. We'll have to get the link up for that at some point. I've got it here somewhere. I'll put that up in a minute. But yeah, I mean, what an incredible prize. There you go. So you get the Expressive E Touché. You get the Roli Seaboard as part of the first prize. You also get the Roland Boss FS-6 pedal, foot switches. You get the Kat Percussion hi-hat pedal, and also the kick pad and pedal as well. So it is just an amazing collection of
every time we do this, we have pretty ambitious goals, and I'm always pleasantly surprised at how the manufacturers in this industry just step forward and really support the cause like this. I mean, all of this stuff was donated. It's just amazing. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I know I lost Michelle a few times at Super Booth this year because she goes, I've got an appointment with so-and-so, and then she'd come back, she'd have a couple of little boxes. So, yeah, it was, it's definitely a labour of love, and it will pay off. I hope it will pay off because, of course, the aim of all of this is to raise funds for the Bob Moog Foundation and to service its three arms. You've got the Dr. Bob School.
Yeah, Dr. Bob Sound School programs for kids. There's the Moogseum. And because of the hurricane that came through last year, attendance is still down. Tourists are still not coming to Asheville, even though I've been there. The city is fine and functioning. And one of their main sources of income is Moogseum, and traffic's down there. And then they also support the Bob Moog Archives, which I had a chance to dive into as well when I was out there putting the system together. So there's three great things, but you need money to run them. It's usually Moogseum entrance, or it's raffle prizes. People buying raffle tickets is what supports these activities. And, if you want to keep these important parts of synth history going into the future, including training kids how to use these things, they need your support.
Yeah. Well, there's a barcode or QR code up in the top left of the screen now. If you scan that in with your mobile device, it will take you to the raffle pages at the Bob Moog Foundation website. I can show you what they will look like when you get there. Let's just throw this up here and put this on screen. So there you go. That's the prize now. Obviously, the website is dynamic. It will dynamically assign you the right currency. So here in the UK, one ticket is 20 UK pounds. I think it's 25 US dollars. 77 will get you 5, so that's a nice little discount. 12 will cost you 153, and then the biggest single batch that you can buy is 35 tickets, which will cost you £381. But of course, you can buy multiple batches, should you wish. Buy them for a Christmas present. You never know. It might be an interesting surprise come Christmas Day.
It's a little large to put in a stocking, but worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just get some big stockings. I'll have a word with my wife. Must get the raffle details out there because it is important that people know when this starts. So it has already started. It has already started on Monday, but it will finish on Friday, December 19th this year at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. That's Eastern US time. So please be mindful of that. So for those of us in the UK, that will be 4:59 in the morning on Saturday the 20th. And you can do the rest of the calculations wherever you might be in the world. It is open internationally. They will ship this for you. So don't worry if you live, maybe at some part of the UK, maybe, I don't know, Suffolk specifically. It can arrive here. Whether I'll get it through the front door, I don't know. But it's there.
The West Country.
Yeah. Do you know, I would. I mean, I know that, I rib Eurorack users and the Eurorack community, and I do mean it from the from a very dear place. It's not malicious in any way. But if I was to get my hands on this, well, I might turn. I might be persuaded to turn.
I have heard the air freight prices from US to Scotland are the cheapest in the world, just to let you know, Chris.
Actually, it's to the southwest.
You realize you need to buy
southwest.
tickets to win it, right?
Yeah.
Tickets first.
Just mark the tickets, yeah. Yeah. So,
Can you imagine the uproar if one of us won it?
Never let it down.
Yeah.
I've got to be in it to win it.
There's
we all
nothing
buy
there that
tickets.
says members of the ProSynth network can't enter. So
No, you're definitely allowed to enter
yeah.
it. It could be an additional guest on future shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is just an incredible prize. And not just
really
because it's a set of modules, but you're getting everything you could possibly need to interact with this. You're getting, obviously, the Seaboard and the Touchés and all the other controllers. And then, of course, there are other prizes to be won. So if you're not successful for the first prize, maybe you'll win an amazing Osmos. I've just got one that's just there. Arrived this week. Incredible thing. Absolutely. Very inspirational thing. Yeah. Really, really cool. And then, of course, Noisy, which is a great piece of software to use with stuff like the Osmos. Sorry, Andy.
I think the funny thing is modular can be quite frightening if you've not done it. Right, if you're a synthesist, yeah. But it can be, and I think what I really love about this, Chris, is I can see the signal flow, and because it's already been prepared by someone, and so there's some logic to it about the way, and especially the way you explained it, I would adore. I'm going to be buying tickets, by the way, but this is a lot less frightening because I'm not randomly having to make choices to fill holes and not knowing what I'm getting. I know all of these have been chosen, so I think it's a I mean, it's a stupidly good, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I spent a week at the Bob Moog Foundation offices putting the system together and working with it. And I actually rearranged modules while I was there just based on working with and going, no, this would work better for the flow if it's over here. So it's not literally like just a bunch of random stuff that's thrown into a box for you. There's a big focus on it being an instrument. Yeah. And I think, again, people are not going to exhaust this for quite some time. It's going to keep you happy for quite some time.
Yeah. No, it looks incredible, and I'm sure that it will be a rip-roaring success. I mean, $24,000 worth of equipment.
Isn't it just crazy?
Yeah, very good. I could hear Jason's wallet rustling there when we were talking through the modules, thinking, how many tickets can I buy?
I thought that was Jackson in the litter tray myself, but yes. No, it's an incredible thing. Yeah.
And it's a nice celebration of what Bob was into. Unfortunately, we did lose Bob some time ago now. But I think a lot of people associate Moog with old analog systems. Mm-hmm. And most of the Bob Moog Foundation raffles are indeed vintage mini Moogs and wonderful instruments like that. Mm. But I think it's really fun to represent this other part of his legacy. Not only did he start with the modulars, where could he have gone with it? Because he had all of these interests. He didn't stop with his first system. He kept studying all these different techniques. So it's fun to try to step into his shoes and try to bring all of his interests to life with this instrument.
That's what I always admired about. I mean, because I kind of in my teenage years when I first sort of I knew the Moog name, but I didn't know the guy, and I would see him pop up, but it was never with a modular synthesizer. I'd see him doing the demonstration at AES in 1980 of the Fairlight. I'd see pictures of him with the Kurzweils and other instruments. He was this amazing advocate and promoter of the technology and the people that took his ideas and then just went and ran with them. And he did an amazing
It was
stuff.
really interesting to go through the archives too and read some of Bob's own writings. And he was never possessive about, I invented this market or whatever. Lord knows they enabled the market. But whenever he talks about it, he says, myself, Don Buchla, Paul Ketoff, we were all working at the same time on these ideas. He was just was a wonderfully agnostic person in that way. And I'm really glad that the foundation's around just to keep his legacy going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they do amazing work, and Michelle does just fantastic stuff. Chris Stack is in the chat. Just said, first time I saw him play a synth, it was a Casio sampler. There you go. I mean, he really wasn't fussy at all. Yeah, amazing stuff. Congratulations on putting that thing together, because I know the amount of effort that's gone into that from yourself and Michelle and the rest of the team at the Bob Moog Foundation, and I hope that it will be an amazing success, and that some lucky someone is going to go home or have that delivered at some point. Yes, I think we'll all have a bit of that.
It'll pretty much go up Santa's sleigh. Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah, that's going to be an amazing. Can you just imagine when that turns up? It'll be on a pallet, I'm sure. just mind blowing. Whoever is going to win that is going to have their minds blown. Links to the chat, links to the raffle are in the chat, and of course the QR code if you want to enter there. Please do. Even if you just buy one ticket, prove Chris wrong that it's not just multiple tickets that win. Prove them by buying a single ticket, but buy maybe 2 or 3. Anyway,
I would just love to see Shona's face if that turned up at the door.
I know. Mine would be an instant divorce. I think.
Robbie, if you buy only one ticket, how are you going to win the second and third prizes as well?
Well, this is true. That's a very good point. So at least buy 3 tickets. So you might as well buy 5. Which I think 5 tickets is just it's 3 and a bit. It's the cost of 3 and a bit single tickets. So just buy 5. There you go, and then you've increased your odds exponentially. It's well worth doing. Thank you for that run through, Chris. That's brilliant. I'm just going to give you a little bit of time to lubricate your vocal cords and just take a breather while we do say I've got some messages here to shout out. So first of all, well, they're all 2 of them are to this guy down in the bottom here underneath me, Scott, donating some money there. One to help with Kent's wind problems. I'm not sure money will do much to help his wind problems. And then one to help Jason get some kitty wipes. And then Steve, Regen Quick Start Guide in the merch store. Yeah, right. That's not happening anytime soon. There was an interesting thing, actually. I'll mention this. I said this on one of Kent's things the other night. Trevor Horn, there was a quote from Trevor Horn recently. I think it's at Music Radar did an interview with him, and I don't know whether they got the quote or whether it was from somewhere else. But anyway, that's besides the point. He was talking about the original synclavier, which they used heavily in the 1980s on the the Frankie albums, the Propaganda albums, and much more besides. And he was saying how temperamental it was, and they would contact the guys at Synclavier to say it's not working, and they would insist that it was, but he would swear down the phone at them that it wasn't working and it was difficult to understand. There was only one person in the building who was clever enough to understand how it worked, and it just gave me so many flashbacks to that Regen unboxing video that I did, where I was just sat there completely flummoxed by this thing, which I ought to have understood. But when I went to Synclavier, they were saying, "Oh no, it's easy. You could do that." And I was like, "Now I know how Trevor Horn feels." So they are complex machines. They sound amazing. They do incredible things. But yeah, they're not easy things to get your head around. But it's nice to know I share something in common with Trevor Horn. I also want to give a shout out. So we have a couple that watch us regularly. They come to the shows. Matt Lincoln and his lovely wife Sue. And I asked after Sue because it was her birthday the other day. So not only do we want to wish Sue a happy birthday, but also Sue's not been feeling very well of late. I'm not going to go into details. That's entirely for her to bring up if she wants. But she's not been feeling very well. So Matt said it would cheer her up on a Friday evening whilst they're sipping a glass of wine to wish her well and hope she gets better soon. And we really do. She's fantastic at the shows because when Peter and I are at the stands and we're there for like 8 hours, 9 hours straight, she brings us coffee, she brings us chocolate brownies, and she brings us a lovely smile and a lot of chit chat, and it's amazing. And so please do get well soon, Sue. We're all thinking of you and hope you feel better and you're on your feet again as soon as possible. And Matt, make sure you look after her. She's a keeper, that's for sure. So get well soon, Sue. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Right, so Chris, I'm going to come back to you because we don't have you on every week. You've got some new music out, is that right? You've got a new album?
Yeah, I released an album this year called Paradise Lost that was based on different performances I've done. And I'm still touring on some of the material now. So that was a lot of fun. That's on Bandcamp, and the stereo version's on Bandcamp, and I'm working on the surround Atmos mix that I hope to get out this winter of that.
Yeah,
and
I wanted to talk to you about that. But yes, just finish telling us about the...
Yeah, that and a new release that just came out today. One of the concerts I played in September, there's this wonderful concert series in Philadelphia called The Gatherings that Chuck Van Zyl, the person who puts on the Stars End radio program, curates and runs. And I performed there in September. And over on The Gatherings Bandcamp page, they just released the recording of my live performance there as well. And that came out today.
Oh, nice.
This is Bandcamp Friday, where all proceeds go to the artist. Bandcamp does not take a cut. And I just, buy some music and enjoy it. But this was a fun album to produce.
Yeah, so if you go to aliaszone or .com, you'll get all the information there. And of course, there's a link that will take you to the Bandcamp page where you can purchase that. I'm very interested in the surround versions that you're going to do that. And we bounced a few emails back, and you were saying that electronic music is prime fodder for this kind of stuff. Explain why you believe that. What is it about electronic music that lends itself to multi-channel audio?
I think when you have acoustic instruments or normal band, you have certain expectation of how they're situated. You're used to a band being arrayed in front of you. You're used to the orchestra being in front of you. You're used to a piano being an object, not something that's spread out across a large room. And when some people have tried to do surround mixes with those things, it becomes confusing. Do you put the guitar over there? But normally the guitarist is up there in front of you on stage. Do you put the violins back here? Well, the violins are usually a section of the orchestra right here. And I think there's a big disconnect between listening to surround mixes of traditional music and what the user's expectation is. But with electronic music, there is no expectation. You could even argue, what is the instrument? And I think that really opens us up to create not just these soundscapes, but to put the sounds anywhere we want in the soundscape around us, or have them swirl around us. And some of the fun I've been having with my quad live performances and also surround sound is I'll not just take a stereo synthesizer pad or something like that, but I'll rotate that all the way around the room while it's playing. And it's the ultimate multi-channel phase shifter when you're in the middle of this synth that's orbiting around you. And by contrast, I've talked to a pianist who tried to do an Atmos release, and he said, well, we originally thought we were just going to mic up the piano and spread the piano from the front speaker to the back speaker. And we realized that sitting in the middle of a 20-foot long piano did not make sense.
Yeah.
But with electronic music, it does make sense to be literally immersed in the sound.
Yeah. Because one of the early proponents of that was, of course, Suzanne Charney. She's done many a gig over the last few decades in quadraphonic with her amazing system. So, I mean, you're following in the footsteps of some amazing people there.
Yeah, that's been the fun thing, is a quad was a big thing back in the 60s and 70s. And a lot of electronic performances were done in quad back in the day, including from Suzanne. Michael Stearns is another person who's been a real pioneer in spatial audio. He will not perform if there's fewer than 4 speakers, because he's doing it immersively. But then it fell out of vogue for a while. And there's various reasons for it. It's hard to put speakers behind you in a listening environment at home. Now we have tricks to get around that. People don't like loud sound suddenly popping up from behind them. There's another reason the quad probably didn't catch on as a format. There was quad vinyl, things like that back in the days.
Yeah.
But then with the modular synthesizers, this culture of performing live has really come out. And I've been surprised how many electronic musicians I've spoken to were studio rats and cannot imagine performing live. On the other hand, modular synthesis in particular seem to just take it as a given that you're going to go play live with this stuff. I don't know why. Maybe it's the dance music influence where DJs are expected to have modular systems now and things like that. But there's just this live performance culture. And as part of it, we've been bringing back quad performances. So about half the performances I do are in quad. When we set up the chill out room at the NobCon trade show, September of every year, it's a quad sound system. We have a local music festival here in Albuquerque, New Mexico called Wave Trails. It's in quad. And we've just been really adopting this old format to our performances today. It's been a lot of fun. And now mixing in Atmos, it's been one of the most invigorating things I've done in a long time is mixing in Atmos.
I know I'm the oldest person in the universe, but I remember I babysat God. Yeah, I remember being 14 years old and going to, I think it was the Empire Pool in Wembley, to see ELP performing Brain Salad Surgery, and it was the first time I heard quad, and it was the Moog synthesizer bouncing around 4 speakers, a sequence going around faster and faster and faster and faster for the finale of the whole thing. And I remember it just left everyone absolutely gasping because the band were where they were and the sound was coming from them. But this sequencer was whizzing around faster and faster. It was the most extraordinary thing. So I think you're right, Chris. I think electronic music, particularly synthesis, that's the place for this.
By the way, it's interesting too. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, I have the box set of King Crimson Starless collection, and they did some of their performances in quad back in the day, believe it or not. But it was very strange. Like, why are the drums coming from there? Things like that. It made no sense at the time.
Steve Wilson still performs in quad.
And Steve Wilson is responsible for a lot of the 5.1 immersive mixes.
Exactly,
like I had the Gangrene Dream in Search of Hades, where he did 5.1 releases of Phaedra and Ricochet. Unfortunately, the master tapes to Rubicon have been lost, I've heard. And those are very interesting things to listen to as well.
Yeah. By the way, I was just going to say that Andrew mentioned the Empire Pool in Wembley, which is now known as the Wembley Arena or the OVO Wembley Arena, but it's still around. Unlike Andrew, it will be around for a much longer time, I think. But there you go. Surround sound, multi-channel audio, spatial audio. It's been given lots of different names over the years. Strangely enough, I was having a conversation with someone earlier today because I still get, I've been a massive fan of multi-channel audio, well, pretty much since the early 90s when I got my first Dolby Pro Logic system and was playing my VHS tapes and just marveling at, hearing the Star Destroyer coming over your head, which was just incredible. But there does seem to have been, and it pains some people to say, it does seem to have been a revival in this, which is mainly, I guess, been down to the addition of spatial audio within applications like Apple Music, which has popularized it. Before, I always, I used to speak about it, and people would go, "Huh? What was that? What do I need for that?" And of course, there was a time when you needed a separate player for each different format, and there were multiple formats. And now everyone seems to have coalesced around Blu-ray, which is fine because you can get everything on there. I mean, I got an album. I was trying to remember it just now. It comes with a new stereo mix, a new 5.1 mix, a new Atmos mix, a new binaural mix that you can listen to on your headphones. Plus, you get instrumental versions in all of those formats as well. So you've just got this wealth of content, and the instrumental stuff I find amazing. And so we both mentioned Steve Wilson, who's kind of at the forefront of mixing this stuff. His method is to take the multis and rebuild the stereo track as close as he can to the original, and then that's his template that he works off, and then he starts pushing things out into 5.1. And once he's got that nailed down, he then goes further into the Atmos world. And so you get this very coherent mix at the end of it, which is based on the stereo mix. So it sounds very familiar and it's not too crazy, because there were some... I remember I bought the DVD audio of Pet Sounds, which, sounds glorious in mono because that's how it was supposed to, sound. That's how they wanted you to hear it. And I heard this DVD audio mix, and it's atrocious because they're just moving things around just because they can. I just wondered what your approach is to mixing in that format.
Yeah, I think these are really good points because some of the early stereo stuff was real stunt mixes, having things really doing extreme things. And some of the early stereo mixers only had a switch: left channel, right channel, or center. That's why some of the early Beatles stuff seemed to be so extreme.
Severe panning,
so there's a lot of stunt stuff going on out there, and particularly Jean-Michel Jarre's Oxymore and a recent Brian Eno in Atmos. They're really pushing, Brian Eno singing into your forehead sort of thing, and stuff like that. I like the Jarre piece because there's a lot of interesting panning. But it's trying to do things that are, for me, having multi-channels gives you an opportunity to improve the clarity of a mix. Because when you have multiple layers going on, trying to jam it all out of 2 speakers on a sound stage, you can start to lose track of what's an individual instrument and what's a layer and what's a composite sound. But when you have the ability to put the sound around you and above you, I found the ability to separate out the individual layers or the individual parts brings a lot more clarity to a mix. It's easier to hear the individual parts. For example, I was listening to Steve Wilson's 5-1 mix of Starless and Bible Black. And there's some parts in there where, like, the violin and Robert Fripp's guitar are doubling parts. You cannot tell that they're 2 instruments in the stereo mix because they're crammed into this space. But in the 5-1, he spreads them out to the sides like this. And you go, oh, I'm hearing 2 different textures here, slightly different playing techniques. It's not a composite. Yeah. So I think the ability to bring clarity into a mix is a really, really important thing. And, you know, some of the stuff's very stunty. I talked to Robert Rich, another great electronic music composer who's done a lot of 5-1 stuff. And I said, oh, obviously you're going to get into Atmos. He said, no, I'm not going to get into Atmos. I don't want to fly my sounds all over the place. And I'm like, it's not requisite, you know. You're not required to do stupid things in Atmos. Now he's remixed his entire catalog in Atmos.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I want to point out about why Atmos has become so popular is all these previous formats like Quad, 5-1, required you to have a certain number of speakers in a certain number of places to reproduce it. Yeah. Whereas Atmos said, tell us where in a mythical cube a sound should be coming from. And then the playback system is going to say, well, this is how many speakers I have and wherever they are. Oh, then I will divide the mix to the speakers you have. Yeah. So it's no longer required to have a 714 system like I have here at home. You can get a sound bar that bounces sound off the ceiling for the overheads and does some psychoacoustic tricks for the rear channels. You can get a binaural mix as well. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that Dolby did that made it much easier to get out into the public. It didn't require you must have this setup in these locations. You can do it with all these different ways of listening to it.
Yeah. It's clever stuff.
I was. This is just a quick aside. Yesterday, I was doing a show where we were talking about film and about how disconnected some modern films are from older films because they don't feel real, because you don't feel engaged with them, because there's so much post-production and layering, and also the textures. With older films, you tend to feel the texture of the dust and the skin, you know. So that was a discussion we had yesterday. And this discussion about surround sound is much the same one, which is it's about taking care. You don't, you know, in video or in film, you don't do fast pans all over the place. They just don't work. You have a considered view. So with Atmos and with surround sound, it's about placing stuff so that you're creating a whole picture within which, you know, which feels real. It feels like you're in a space, whether it's electronic or otherwise, but it feels like you're in a space. You're not having things artificially, exaggeratedly put in places that you wouldn't normally expect them to have.
And it makes it much easier to create the type of environment you're trying to fake with stereo. Like, I like to use shimmer reverbs as a layer in a lot of my stuff. Well, I put my shimmer reverbs in my overheads. Because, you know, when you have this octave transposed up, angelic stuff, that's where you expect it to be. I do separate front and rear reverbs and do the rear reverb with a longer decay and more roll off on the high ends, so it rolls out behind you, you know, rather than just being reverb from the front. And imagine you're actually in a room.
Yeah, a longer early reflection as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of people dismiss it and have done. And it's something I've battled over the years and tried to convince people that actually, if you sit down and listen to this stuff, it's not. People conflate the movie and the music as the thing, and that you've got to sit in a sweet spot. No, you don't. You don't have to sit in a sweet spot at all. I mean, I remember listening when Depeche Mode released their back catalogue up to a point in 5.1. As you said, you could hear so much more, and you didn't have to be in the same room. Just that the fact that they were able to place certain sounds on their own over there or over here just meant you could hear everything, and it just became a whole new experience when you heard that those albums.
And mixing in Atmos is an art that we're learning. Like, you talk about the sweet spot, you know, to get techie for a section for a moment. When you create an object in Atmos, you can determine the size of the object. And I found there's a real interaction between like the size you make an object and how big the sweet spot is to hear that where you intend to. So there's definitely a learning curve of how do you tweak the Atmos mix to broaden out the sweet spot so you don't have to have your head nailed down in one place.
Yeah.
But I've also talked to people about like club music and live dance music, which is a big part of electronic music. And people said, sometimes the sound system's in mono. Why do I need spatial audio? I said, look, there's some clubs in London that are already put Atmos. And the first time someone puts a riser that sweeps around the room and the crowd goes shit, everyone's going to have to do it after that. It's a different experience.
Ministry have got a big multi-channel.
Yeah, Ministry. I went to the opening back probably around about 2000, 2001 of the Ministry 5.1 system, Ministry of Sound 5.1 system on a dance floor. And everyone was poo-pooing it until they got in the room. And then everyone went, what? It was astonishing.
It's definitely getting more popular, the live surround. There's my friend Mike that worked for Ableton for years. He just left Ableton at the tail end of last year, and I can't off the top of my head remember the name of the company, but they're in Paris, and this is what they do: is they have PA systems that are, I think it's 7.1 that they're doing in PAs. I could be wrong with the figures there, but it's definitely big surround. And Mike, when he went to hear this over in Paris, he was just like fuck.
Well, we had Martin Ware on the show a little while back, and Martin has his own company called Illustrious, and they do 3D soundscapes. But he, I think the last time they played at the Roundhouse, they did the whole of it might have been the Luxury Gap in surround sound in the Roundhouse, and because it's a circular building, it was incredible. It was
perfect
really
for it, yeah. And the tools are another issue. Like you mentioned, Ableton Live, that's my preferred DAW, but it's a stereo DAW. And you have to really poke at it and bend it and twist it to get it to do spatial audio. You can, but I've had these discussions with Ableton support. You got to get multi-channel. That's a lot of work. You have to do it.
Chris, do you use ambisonic microphones?
Yes, I've started using ambisonic microphones to record field recordings and things like that. And I think one of the best use of an ambisonic mic that I've heard of is someone recorded their own drum circle by putting the mic in the middle of their studio, going to one place in the studio, recording one drum part there, rewinding, different drum, different part of the studio, overdub, mic in the same position, rewind to the top, different drum in a different position, record again, so they could be their own drum circle surrounding the ambisonic mic while they recorded their percussion parts. I thought that was a brilliant application.
I think binaural, which is one of the simplest things that anyone can do. You get a pair of lavalier mics, one to the left and one to the right channel. Just clip them on your collar, and you can just go out and about and record the ambience, and then play that back in your headphones, and it's just like you are there. There's some brilliant binaural stuff out there, so it's anybody can do it. But of course nowadays, Logic comes with the whole spatial audio stuff built into it, so it's
Cubase, Nuendo, Reaper,
yeah. So come on, Ableton, you're slacking. You mentioned King Crimson a little bit earlier, but tomorrow night you're doing something with,
tomorrow night I'm opening for an ex-member of King Crimson's new duo, Trey Gunn, who was the War guitarist, particularly in the double trio and the double duo versions of King Crimson. Has moved to Santa Fe, which is just an hour north of me here in New Mexico. And he started a new duo with a real avant experimental jazz musician who plays EWI and does all sorts of sample splicing and breakups and stuff like that. And they do improv sets, amazing stuff. Just released a new album today. And the album release party is tomorrow night in Albuquerque. And I'm their opening act for that release party. And I'm really excited about that.
Very good.
It's we're doing it in quad, and it's the first time that Trey Gunn and Dave Forlano have actually played in quad. So this is going to be an interesting experience for them as well. So it's going to be quite an exciting night tomorrow night.
Very cool stuff.
How much do you notice the quad effect from the stage? Do you notice it quite a lot from the stage itself, or?
Yes, I do.
You do.
And it's been interesting because I've been playing in different quad configurations this year, and we had this. Normally, the musicians are in front. We put the front speakers beyond the musicians, and then, of course, the back speakers tend to be at the back of the hall. And even though there's a distance, since we've put the performer in between all four speakers, you still hear some of the quad effect.
Right, okay.
We thought theoretically that in the round setup it's even better, where you put the stage in the middle and surround the speakers. But having done that a couple of times now, I found that only the musicians are in the sweet spot, and the rest of the audience tends to be off to a side inside the quad mix. I found that's not as preferable as having a more traditional musicians are in front, push speakers beyond them, but then have some back speakers as well.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fun in different mixes. We were talking about mix philosophies. One of the popular quad mix philosophies is what people refer to as the mullet, where they say theories in front, party in the back. So I'll quite often put direct sources in front, and then the funny echoes and the crazy reverb and stuff like that in the back of the room and stuff like that, separate them out. And that's a lot of fun.
Excellent stuff.
Cool.
And of course, you're still running the fantastic Learning Modular website. Tell us a little bit about that. What's new? What can we find on there that's been added recently?
Yeah, I have the Learning Modular website, and I have the Learning Modular courses site, courses.learningmodular.com, and I have a Patreon site as well. And the Learning Modular site is very much focused on modular synthesis, a little bit of mixing, things like that. But I have links to my courses on there as well for people who are trying to get into modular synthesis from ground zero, or from a semi-modular point with a Mother 32, or a software point from the Arturia Modular V. But my Patreon site is where I've been having the most fun, because that's where I can really just show everyone what's in my head. And I talk about everything on my Patreon site, including how I'm mixing material, all of my performances. Whenever I release a new track, I give them a complete breakdown of, at this point, this sound's coming in, it's this patch, is how I'm doing it. When this sound comes in here, oh, it's this sequencer trick, it's how I'm doing it. So I've had a lot of fun with the Patreon page in particular to really show people, to allow them to be in the studio with me and see how I'm patching, how I'm mixing, how I'm performing this stuff. And that's been my biggest kick. I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic website. Link is like up there, and also in the chat. So pop along there. And
modular UBs like Robbie, there's even a glossary of modular terms and all sorts of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, it's where I learn all my stuff. And you're giving access to this to the winner of the raffle, right?
Yes, we give access to all the courses to the winner of the raffle as well.
Cool. Fantastic. Oh, excellent stuff. Right.
How many tickets have you bought, Andrew? How many have you bought?
And Keith in Watford said earlier this week that he was going to buy 10 for himself and 10 in my name. So I appreciate that. But that'd be fantastic. That would be nice. Brilliant. Okay, we've got about 40 minutes left. There has been a little bit of news this week, so I thought we'd touch on a few things because it's getting towards the end of the year, and things will be drying up. Oh, before I forget, I've just reminded myself of this. Winners will also get a copy of that fantastic, recently updated book by Kim Bjorn with a forward by Jean-Michel Jarre, Push Turn Move. That also comes with the first prize, yeah?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, excellent.
Because Kim wrote a lot about alternate controllers, so we thought it was a really nice tie-in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I win?
There you go.
Wonderful.
Did I win? Have I got this? Surely I've won.
You are already a winner.
That's it.
I was going to ask, sorry, but the modular, if it comes over here, is Kent going to be doing the maintenance on it and supporting it?
Kent does installation for nothing, yeah.
Is that right,
He's
Kent?
fallen asleep, I think.
Is that
What
right?
makes you think of?
Has he said it?
I'm being
forgot he was
quiet.
here.
I'm being quiet, and I get accused of being asleep.
I thought, for a split second, I thought, what would happen if somebody died on the show? I mean, actually, you're not like comedian.
No. No, you can't.
Don't look at me.
Horrible.
Don't look at me.
How would we know, though,
Tommy,
with Kent? How would we know?
That
His power would be the
depends
same.
on what the news is
Tommy
tonight.
Cooper.
Because I do remember a few months ago where you put something up that was so bad,
Quite
I
dark,
tried to
right?
hang myself with a USB cable.
USB cable.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can excite people with some of the news that has been going around. I think we might have kind of skirted around this on a show recently because we didn't have enough time to talk about it. But I want to talk about this because I bought this and it's really, really very, very good indeed. This is from Savant Audio Labs. I was a little bit, shall we say, dubious about this because they claim to have faithfully created the Publison Infernal Machine, which is this kind of mythical, weird and wonderful effects unit from France that came out, I think was it 1980? It was around that time.
Around that time, yeah.
Famously used by the likes of Prince and many other artists besides. Prince's Camille persona, which appears mostly on Sign of the Times, that kind of higher pitch, was all Prince singing through this. And he processed all of his drum sounds and everything through it. It's an amazing bit of kit. And the bizarre thing was, when this was launched, I got an email from the wonderful musician Sarah Anglis, who I've met a few times, and she wanted to know that if I'd had any hands-on time with one of these. And it's just so rare that it's difficult to get. Although, Kent, didn't you have one of these knocking around in part form somewhere?
Yeah, I've still got it.
You still got it? What, the whole thing? You had the one with the keyboard, didn't you?
I had the one with the keyboard. I lent the keyboard out to a chappie who wanted to try and use it for some other nefarious thing, bank robbery or something, I don't know. But I still have the unit here.
Yeah. And of course, you were telling me, and Sarah has found this out as well, as she's been trying to service the one that she's got. The way that they protected their intellectual property was that they sanded
off all the codes off the chips.
Yes.
Which was just crazy.
It's clever. It's clever because the circuit diagrams are not available for it.
Yeah.
So, hello, darling.
But now you don't need to. I mean, now you've got this amazing recreation, and I mean, I don't know exactly what the hardware sounds like because I've never tried it, but it does amazing things. There was a little video. They've got a couple of like full length, like 12-15 minute demonstrations, but there was this one little video where they're processing a Lindrum pattern through it, and it will give you some idea of what it can do.
Hi, this is Paulina from Synth Audio. Here's a quick tip. We want to take this basic plain drum and transform it into this. This is a technique first used by Tony Visconti that works really well with the I'm90. Let's start with the bass and snare. Let's send just the snare to the I'm90. Lower the pitch slightly. Now increase the feedback until we have this nice cascading pitch effect. Now adjust the delay time until the length feels right. And finally, send a single channel to the reverb. Now let's layer it with another instance of the I'm90, but with a lower pitch setting. Now we can send some of the high percussion to a very short reverb. And combine that with a larger room. This setting works great for this. And finally, adjust the overall returns in the context of the full mix.
Feed my soul to be each his own. Speak to grown people and be your own. Man, I know for fact, leave your soul. Reach your goals and leave speech alone. Money is the motive. Guns and roses, guns I'm holding. When the fun's are slow. If you try to hold me up, I won't get too shaking on.
And we'll leave that there just for the moment. You can go watch some of the other videos on their channel. So many times people buy instruments, especially old vintage instruments, and they play them and they go, that just sounds nothing like what they do on the record. That's because they were putting it through things like this. And this is one of those units where you can pretty much do all of your effects processing in this one thing, and it does it all, and it does it in a very magical way. Chris, have you got any experience with the original hardware?
I've not had a chance to use the Pulsan, but it's obviously one of those like almost unobtainian mythical devices. In the US, we didn't have nearly as many of them over here as you had over there in UK or on the continent. But it's such a lovely, smooth reverb for that era, because a lot of the stuff back there had some pretty metallic or some pretty rough reverbs. I know some people associate it with the sound of synthwave, but I personally like the smooth stuff, and it's such a magical box.
Yeah.
I have a very probably unpopular opinion, but listening to that video, it sounded worse once it was on.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I heard it how it sounded before it got processed. in fairness, I'm sorry.
No counting but taste, though, right?
Well, exactly.
But everyone
there you
has
go.
to overplay their hand in demos so you can hit you over the head with a hammer with the effects.
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
That's true.
But I must admit, it's it's a very big, unwieldy machine that used to break down regularly. It was actually more unstable than a very wet Polymoog. Right, it's literally. If you got 20 minutes out of this without something going on it, you were charmed. They fell over a lot. So thank God now there's a plug-in version.
Ancient.
Yeah.
But they sounded they did actually sound really good.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. But you had to use them sparingly, like with all of these things. If you get one really good effect, suddenly you put your small stone phaser over everything, it all sounds a mess, right? Or your 224, it sounds a mess. But you put the right thing in the right place, and Publison did do things that no one else was doing. Kind of like that shimmer reverby thing. You could do all of that kind of stuff with it. It was an astonishing box. I loved it.
I'm still trying to work out what the hell the keyboard was for.
For playing, you played
so
it.
It does seem a bit odd, doesn't it?
To transfer
Tuned
with the pitch shifting,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I forget if Publison also had a sampling feature in it or not.
It did.
Well, it's the delay line, isn't it? So people were using the delay line as a primitive form of sampling,
Yeah.
and then you could play that back through the
The freeze button on the old prime time, things like that.
Yeah, that sort of thing, like the AMS.
1580.
Yeah, you could do that using the delay line. You could just sample and play those things back. Yeah, I mean, I just bought it because it's a brilliant discount. It's normally $179. They've knocked it down in intro price to just $79, so that's over half price off, which is, I believe, still on for another few days. So if you want it, get it quick. But there's also trial versions. If you're not quite sure, go and get the trial version. I've not fully read the manual. Don't really know what I'm doing, but I've put it on a few things and listened to it. I thought, that's quite like that. It's my sort of thing. Being a big Prince fan as well. I mean,
The pitch shifting was astonishing on it. It was it's way better than the Eventide at the time.
Yeah, it's a brilliant machine. But well done to Savant. Is it? I think it's Savant Audio Labs for a rather decent plugin. Yeah, Savant. They are based. I'm going to do a thing. Actually, I've made a decision. I'm going to do a whole thing about French, because the French at the moment are knocking it out of the park in terms of synthesizers and plugins and all this. They're doing some amazing stuff. I think it's the new heart of the industry is in France.
Back to the old days, like the COBOL synths and things like that were cutting edge. They did some things like variable wave shapes, stuff like that. They were they're ahead of everyone else at the time.
Yeah, some cool stuff. So that's available now. SavantAudiolabs.com. The IM90. They've also got some other cool things as well, such as the Quantum Room Simulator.
That's astonishing.
Yeah, and the 2772 Evolution. Again, trial versions are available of all of those things. So they're doing some very good work. But the Black Friday sale is still on, and I do believe it's until early part of next week that I think that's still available. So do go and check them out. Right. What else have we got? This is right up our guest's path, this one here. So you might remember that we spoke a few weeks ago about Hans Zimmer's new on-stage behemoth, the Synthesla, which is this massive, I think, what did we say it's 12 cabinets, but 2 reside off stage, and then there are 10 on stage of these massive mostly 5U, and then there's some smaller stuff underneath.
Yeah, there's a Euro rack row at the bottom. Yeah,
that's it. And then they're all interconnected, and there's lots of connections happening behind all of this. So you don't have to. It's not like a spider's web of patching, because that would just be a real pain in a live show. And I know that Nick Howes is in the chat. He went to see Hans. Was it last night or the night before? And he sent a picture from way back in the auditorium, and the one thing you could see was this massive bank of synthesizers. Well, you too can own something like this, although in a much smaller form, but well, maybe not that much smaller. Whoops, there it is. So this is the Synthesla Megahertz, which is based off of the Giorgio 3, which is Hans Zimmer's machine. So this is not quite one of those racks, but it's probably about half of one. And it's got some, I mean, look, I don't know, again, I don't know much about this stuff, but the it just looks amazing. It's so
very
steampunk. The craftsmanship in that woodwork as well is just stunning.
Yeah,
the aesthetics are amazing and nice big displays. Yeah,
this big kind of sweeping dials and lots of illumination. I really, really like that. Unfortunately, they're not going to be making very many of these. I think 10 to 15. I think they've got 5 in stock at the moment. But that's the price up there, €8,160, and that's including sales tax. Put a $2,000 deposit down, or you can pay. I suppose, yeah. I mean, for the quality, it's hand built, isn't it? Yeah.
It looks like it can reanimate dead flesh.
Yeah,
I would want.
I'm sure if
for
you
that
wired
money,
correctly.
I would definitely want that. Yeah. Definitely want that feature. So, I've eaten this steak. I want it again.
Let's have a look down the
Reanimate
VCOs, reanimation. Oh no, that's not there. But you do have a
do
quadruple
we think
attenuating.
Ty's bought 2?
I wonder if I can
you
get
know-
them prescribed.
If he hasn't bought one of these, I will be very sad.
So
This
will I.
is-
So no
Yeah,
change
this
there
is-
then.
I'll have to give him a shout and say, have you bought one yet? Because he probably will have.
I doubt it. His tax bill isn't due yet, is it?
Well, no.
January, yeah.
What do you think about this, Chris? I mean, this
but
is
even
right up
a
your street,
case alone is just beautiful as well.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have kind of mixed feelings about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I'm really into like cutting edge modules these days, a lot of digital modules and alternate synthesis techniques in my own systems. And this is very much an analog synthesizer.
Yeah.
It does not really have a lot of the modern stuff, like granular and all that in it. That said, it's a brilliantly implemented classic analog synthesizer. He's put lots of nice touches and features in this thing. Even things like his toolbox modules are really well designed, but just the lovely displays and just the tactile thing about it. Again, this discussion, people are like, well, you can all just do that with a piece of software. And like, yes, you can, but there's no better multi-touch interface than a modular synth. Where you've got all these.
This is art, right? This is art.
Yes, it is art as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're buying a handcrafted violin or cello, and we talked about this last time I was on. It's like, go price orchestral acoustic instruments if you think any synthesizer is expensive.
Yeah.
You can buy a nice tune for this price. That's it.
I remember when I'd done the sound engineering course when I was 23 years old. It was like a 2-year course. I was planning to go on and do the degree, but family things happened that I ended up with a daughter, so that kind of put the stop to that degree. But during that sound engineering course, we had to help like orchestras and things like that get set up on stage. And it wasn't until then that I realised that harps are like 80,000, or certainly the harp that we were lifting up onto this stage was £80,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Bloody hell, that is heavy.
So yeah, I know exactly. Or if you start getting into violins and things like that are all these vintages it's scary money that's involved.
Yeah, with acoustic instruments, you can get like a beginner educational one for 3 or 4 digits. But once you start to get into a nice performance one, you're talking 4 or 5 digits.
Yeah.
Orchestral level, you're talking 5 digits, and custom 6 digits. We don't know how good we have it in the electronic world.
No. I mean, my sister wanted to learn cello, and the first one that she got, my dad bought, and it was a Chinese manufactured cello. It was maybe £400 or £500. And then as she got better, she said, I need a better cello, and then we was getting to 5 figures, and Dad was like, can't you just learn like a keyboard or something, and I could buy one? So yeah, it's a crazy expensive thing. We are very lucky. And guess what? We're talking about French manufacturers, Synthesla from France, and I believe a lot of the oscillators are either been designed by or in consultation with the gentleman behind the Arturia Brute oscillators, whose name has just literally popped out of my head. I've got his website up here. Here it is. This gentleman designed the Brute oscillators, and I believe that he has worked in conjunction with Synthesla to do the stuff on there. He's a very, very clever man, and I apologise, I've completely forgotten his name, and hopefully somebody in the chat will put that in there for me, because that's terrible, isn't it? I should have written that down.
So this $500,000
Evuson,
synth,
that's it, Evuson.
Click on the website.
this $500,000 synth that Hans has on the stage does only one sound.
No.
No.
It is.
It's actually
it does
divided into
this one.
4 sections, 4 different people can play simultaneously.
Was it? I'll find it in a minute.
There you go. It's a 10 rack.
It just does that sound.
Just does that. there were some decent memes going around when that came out. Yeah. Sorry, Chris, you were saying.
Yeah, just everyone's so jealous. We know. I mean, let's be honest. It is a lovely stage prop. The lighting in it is even, uses the same lighting control system as all the rest of the stage lighting. So it is a very theatrical instrument. But it is an instrument that 4 people can play. It is an analog modular synthesizer, but a very powerful one. And I'm really happy for Hans Zimmer to be out there saying, hey, these are some of the tools that we use, and not, being coy or hiding it. And I think it can only just help the popularity of these instruments.
I'm just glad he's not touring with the ARP 2500 system.
In fact, I forget the name of the guy. He does a lot of the wind instruments for hands on stage. But he uses, dare I say it, a Behringer 2600 on stage, because why not?
Yeah, it's Behringer, but he also has a Eurorack system as well. You see in some of his concert films.
Yeah. I would love if I know Hans doesn't watch this very often anyway, but I would love to be able to do like a stage walk from one end to the other and have him explain all of that. So. Just drop him an email, Kent. I know you have it. Let's see if we can get that sorted out.
I messaged him yesterday, but I haven't heard back from him.
Well, message him again and just say I want to come and do a walk around.
I think he just wrapped up the leg of the tour, so you might still be getting over the hangover.
Oh, I don't mind where he is, as long as he flies me there.
So he'll be making his own Bram noises tomorrow morning.
Hans is Jackson. Hans is a lovely person, though. I'm sure if you could get him on, he's so enthused about going through all that stuff. He is the kid in the candy store. He loves this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's not for want of trying. Anyway, so there you go. So if you want a piece of the Giorgio 3, you can now, but it's going to.
They do sell individual Moog unit and Eurorack format modules as well.
That's true. That is very true. So yeah, you can get a part of that. You can get an essence of it, which is very cool. Okay. Right, what else have we got in the news? Oh yeah, this was a for me anyway. This is more my neck of the woods. The brilliant Bjorn at Full Bucket Music has released another new free synthesizer. This time based on the fantastic, the amazing Yamaha FB01. I'm going to cut that short because it does go on. There's a lovely little piece that they've done to advertise it. But this is the Full Bucket Music FB02, which has just been released. Here it is. It is an emulation of the Yamaha FB01 half-width 1U rack mount module. I've got 3 of the pieces of hardware here. 2 of them are in the very rare case that they did to go into a 19-inch rack mount, which needs to be mounted at some point. But they have recreated this wonderful 4-operator 8-algorithm synth. But the best bit about this for me is that not only is it a software version of the synth, it also acts as a programmer and an editor librarian for the hardware, which I think is double bubble. I mean, it's brilliant. You get everything in one thing. They've recreated all the factory patches, of which there were many, because it also shared the same engine with the CX5M computer module, or certainly the second generation of the sound module that came with that. And then there's a whole bunch of third-party sounds, which, it's simple FM, but, stick it through some effects, as you heard there, and it sounds rather nice. There is a bit of a... I know when I mentioned this to Chris before the show, he's like, yeah, why do they don't want one of these? But there is a bit of a following for this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's what I would do if I went FM.
Yeah,
but there's still an appetite for FM, isn't there?
There's a big appetite for it. I just get a laugh at these instruments that back in the day were like pushed aside are now prized pieces. I forget the exact quote from Brian Eno, but he made something to the effect of, any media that comes out in the past, what we considered its flaws will become the most celebrated features of it in the future. The various artifacts, things like that. And I find with the MT32 and the 65M and the FB01, a lot of these inexpensive modules, which is important to have an inexpensive module for people who don't have unlimited budgets, but otherwise, which were kind of set aside by people back in the day, have become these prized possessions now.
Yeah, and there is a market. I mean, I bought one. I think I paid about £70 or £80. I think that was quite cheap. And then I found this, because they did a rack mount shell. I'll get it out, but it's buried down there. They did a 2U 19-inch rack mount shell where you could fit 2 of these side by side. And you set one to play even notes and one to play odd notes. And then all of a sudden, you've got this 16-voice polyphonic FM synth in your rack. I mean, it's just... and some of the sounds are classic. I mean... solid bass on its own. There are people that keep these things around, this and the TX81Z, just for those bass sounds, because they're so iconic, particularly in certain genres of dance music. It's it's a great little thing. And of course, this is because this is from Bjorn at Full Bucket. It costs you nothing, but please do go and drop him a few quid in the kitty.
And as you say, the user interface is so lovely on this compared to having to deal with small displays of these old instruments.
Yeah, it's it's great stuff.
So to paint the whole way through the letterbox.
Yeah, so
I believe it was Harry Fast that famously said, "Why buy an FB01 when you can punch yourself in the face?"
You're being harsh here. Too harsh.
Sorry, I remember people turning up with these in the studio, and there were people turning up who couldn't afford an awful lot else, and they would have spent time learning these because they had no option. And they got a better grounding in sound design and understanding what sound could do. And FM, you have to really work hard with it to make it sound more analog, more organic. And those people most of those people went on to have glittering careers. So I know people laugh about these things and go, but actually they were a force for good.
And the best synthesizer is the one you have, because you're more likely to use it to the fullest extent and keep using it and keep pushing it. And that's what makes good electronic music, is knowing your gear. You've all got gear that you haven't used enough, but I mean, do it. Don't spend out, spend in.
Indeed. And of course, you can add this to the enormous suite of plugins that Bjorn does at Full Bucket Music. Again, all free of charge, but do hit that donate button and just send him a cup of coffee or a beer.
Give him a $5 or a $10 or a $20 or something.
He's amazing
a good guy.
Work.
Really good guy.
I mean, you just have a look down the side here, and these are all the synth simulations that he does. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, but there's other bits, like the Bucket 1. and the 6-track and the drum tracks, and there's some really, really cool stuff, and Oxid as well. And then he's got his own synthesizers, his own design and effects. I mean, you literally could have an entire virtual studio with just his materials. So please do go and get some of that stuff and bung a few quid his way, and enjoy your. And by the way, if you picked up the FBO2 before you saw this show, about 2 hours ago, version 1.01 was dropped just to fix a couple of little bugs that people had found. So do make sure you go and get the update and fix that for you there. But if you want to scan the code in the corner there, I think Steve has already posted the link in the chat. You can go and grab that for yourself right now. So we've done the FBO2 and we've done the Synthesla stuff. Was there anything else? Just before we came on air,
Jason
Scott said that a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, you got your Delia, your Melbourne Instruments Delia, and there was a couple of little problems, but you were working with the guys. And now they have fixed most of those things.
Yes. Well, they've actually fixed all of the issues that it was having, but at the moment, it's not on every unit, but the new firmware has fixed all the problems as far as the crackles go that were happening when I was using the morph and turning pots and things. So they've managed to alleviate that. But the recent update at the moment is on my unit. It's not happening on all, because I've spoke to a few other guys. But it seems to have a few of my motorised pots idling, which you just sort of hear them trying to work when they shouldn't be. So at the moment, they're just trying to fix a new update for that. But not only have they done that in this update, which is, I think, 2.0, I think, is the firmware update, they've actually added 45 new waveform models as well in there, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love the sound of it. It sounds fantastic. It sounds really, really nice. And the motorised pots on it are not a gimmick. They are so, so useful. Initially when I first seen it, I thought, how useful is that going to be? But when you start using it, very useful, especially the way they've set the mod matrix up. It's very, very clever. Very, very clever indeed.
Nice. Yeah. Chris, have you had a chance to play around with one of these? Because they are a very unique interface.
I've had a chance to play with them at trade shows. I don't have one, but I played with some of the Melbourne stuff. And in general, for live performance, I'm a real fan of knobs that show you the actual current settings of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
For live performance, I use flying fader systems using the Mackie standard, where the faders just jump to the actual levels of those tracks. And you just go through the different banks and the faders move to show, and have them do the silly capture the value or automatically jump. So I really like the Melbourne's, gone that way with this is what the setting actually is right now. Because particularly when you're playing live, just to have that confidence when you're grabbing a knob to change something is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Well, it's glad to hear that they are on the case and quite rapid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's always
so that's the second piece of kit you've got, Scott, where there's been an issue. You've spoken to the manufacturer, and they've gone to the ends of the earth to try and fix it.
Yeah.
So if anyone's got any kit that's a problem, just send it to Scott. He'll speak to the manufacturer.
Or if anybody owes you any money, get Scott to give them a call.
Speak to Scott. That's fine.
Clearly something in that Scottish accent that is gentle
he's going
and persuasive.
It's just when I phone them, I just go, get it sorted.
Is that right? You're going over to New Mexico or Albuquerque or somewhere and motorising the whole of the raffle prize? Is that right?
Did you had something new there in your hands, Jason?
I've got. Oh, have you? Hang on. What's the best camera to do this on? Probably this one. Have you? Oh no, that's the cat cam.
Not that one. There you go.
What about that?
Ooh.
What about that? Now,
Right, Jason, you can pass that one through to the screen to me, please.
I don't think I can actually, but this is a great little filter, but it's an instrument in its own right. So this is part of the CPM series. So Stylophone already had the drone synth, which is there.
Yeah.
But you can link them together to make like an ultimate synth in its own way. So I was thinking of you, Robbie, when I was streaming on Wednesday with this. I thought, you know what, someone like Robbie could actually get a lot of what I get out of modular with this without actually getting involved with modular.
You're saying this is a gateway drug.
But these can be mounted in a modular case, am I right?
They can, but you wouldn't want to do that. You'd be
No, I
wasting
wouldn't want to
valuable size. But you can,
Oh, you
link
can
them
up
together
with the
and they
flanges
come
on
with
the
this little.
end.
Look at that little.
Oh, look at that.
boy.
That's
Look at
clever.
that.
And that just clips
Good God.
in.
There it is.
That's
Look at
very
that. How
clever.
cool is that?
Very clever.
That's,
How cool
that's
is that?
clever design. That's
That
good
is good.
design.
Yeah.
And they're battery operated as well, so you
Yeah.
can plug in a pair of headphones, sit on the train, sit on a mountain top, go on the bus,
As you do.
and be modular. So there you go.
Modular, lad.
Be modular.
You did
That's what
a
I'm
demonstration, was it yesterday or Wednesday on your
doing.
channel?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, so people
I
go
mean,
to
literally
get
dropped it
Jervis.
off on Tuesday.
Yes, we saw the pictures
Lee.
of you trading Jackson for him.
Trading Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, Lee's got a soft spot for Jackson for sure.
Well, we've all
so,
got a soft spot.
I haven't. He's not my favourite cat. He stinks. You pick him up, he farts. He's got poop. Anyway, we won't go into his personal habits, but geez,
Good.
no. Tom for the win. I'm hashtag Team Tom.
You're talking about portable music making. I couldn't resist. I gave in the end, and I've bought one of these.
Oh yeah, cool.
Teenage Engineering Rhythm and
Rhythm.
Did you get the tongue?
ding.
Oh, the things.
Got that.
How do you like them?
I really like it. It's I still need to understand the workflow, but there's some good videos out there, and the manual's not too bad. It's a bit heavier than I thought it would be. It's actually got some substance to it. It's not as kind of cheap and plastic as you might think, and it's just a very clever thing. But it sounds amazing, and I do love a nice bit of reggae, but especially dub reggae.
Oh, yeah.
And this is right up there, and it really does some cool stuff. I also bought, I don't know if you can see this here, I bought the CME WIDI attachment. So that just plugs in and is specifically designed because it's got the little tab, and you just plug it in, and now you've got a fully portable wireless MIDI rhythmanting, and yeah, it's very good. I really enjoy it. And then I also got, as you can see just in the corner, I've got the Osmos 61. And as Chris was saying about the Delia, I've only ever played these at trade shows and got sort of maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I remember Ben and I having a go when it was first at Super Booth, and it was preset on one of those kind of ethnic wind instruments. And yeah, it's nice when it does that thing, but it's so much more than that. Even with just the built-in sounds, the hack and sound, there's so much more. Some of the plugins that they've done collaborations with, like the Legend plugin, and the recent one that we covered the other week, which is the electric piano Lizard Lounge, or Lounge Lizard, sorry, and the AAS stuff as well. So when you're using it with other stuff, pigments, oh my god,
It's very good with pigments.
it's
Very,
amazing
very
with
good
pigments.
Yeah.
I saw Mark Barnes's video because Cheryl just bought him one, didn't she,
That's
for Christmas?
right, yeah. For Christmas,
our
yeah.
machines
The
turned up
Osmos
the same day. Yeah,
61, and he did the briefest 60-second demo using a very box standard sound, just showing what the articulation was about and how it worked. I kind of get Kent's thing, but that just showed me that I should be using this, and so the Osmos is definitely on my list. It was that or the Rise, and I got to say I prefer the Osmos.
I have to say that, having spoken at length with Kent about his experience with the Osmos that led to him getting rid, I was a little concerned because I take what Kent says, believe it or not, very seriously.
You don't, do you?
I do, and I
Please
actually
donate to Kent to suffer with PTSD over MPE devices.
I was
struggling.
actually pleasantly
Please,
surprised at how easy it was to play normally without getting into the fancy, lefty righty, pitchy shifty stuff, and just to play it as a regular keyboard. And I was, maybe I kind of lowered my expectations, and so when it exceeded them, I was more happy than I would normally have been. But I'm desperately happy with it. It's such I'm a sucker for an expressive keyboard. It all started with the Prophecy for me, but the Prophecy, the Polybrute 12, the Kodamo Mask 1, anything that gives you extra levels of expression over and above the traditional
like a
keyboard.
mega version of the Polybrute 12 keyboard.
Yes.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like the full touch that you've got on the Polybrook 12 is very, very similar to what you've got on the.
Yes.
It's just not got as long a throw. And obviously you don't have the wiggly keys, but
well, I was about to say I've got natural vibrato. Look, I mean that's the thing. There it is.
Yeah, I have to say though that Kent Ting does sound like somebody dropping a golf ball into a plastic bucket.
Sample that.
Yeah, sample that.
Sample that.
So yeah, it's highly recommended.
It's interesting you talk about adapting to it as a keyboardist, because I see people come up at trade shows who are like used to just ripping off as flurries of notes on the piano. They can't play an Osmos. Like, what the hell is this thing with the spongy keys? It's really for people who are more into chords and individual notes and eking expression out of notes rather than just playing as many notes as they can. It's the person same board.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, comparing the Seaboard to the Osmos, one of the first things I did in the Osmos is I tried to go in the wide dimension. Went, oh,
yeah. They've both got their advantages
the
and
vibrato
disadvantages.
feels so natural on the Osmos compared to trying to do it on a Rise. Yeah.
I think
I rock. When you rock, you do get it. You know, it's
it's very controlled movement.
I found that more natural than I did with the Osmos. Weirdly.
Yeah.
The thing I struggle with the Rise 2 is all the keys being black. Like, they've got that white line on the black keys so you can identify that, but they've got no white line on the white keys. So you're kind of to me, I'm always trying to look at both hands as I'm playing, because to make sure I'm trying to land exactly on that note.
I tell you what's good practice for that. You get yourself the original Roli Seaboard, 88 note Seaboard. That hasn't got any lines or any lumps, and it hasn't got flats on the top.
Oh, jeez, right, okay.
Right, and playing that, it's like, oh, mate, it's... If you can get
take a lot of practice, Kent.
Yeah, but once you come away from that after a week, the Rise is like just playing a normal keyboard. It'd be like, no, it's dead easy, this. You know?
I had to go on a Hacken Continuum at the Synthesizer Museum in Berlin. They got one set up in the cafe, and I mean that's completely flat. Although it's got the markings on it.
Weird.
It does feel weird. Although I feel that if I'd spent time with it, I could get used to its method. And I was watching some Osmos videos this week, and there's one with Hans Zimmer and his team when they were producing the Dune 2 soundtrack. And he got a couple of guys in. There was one of the guys from Expressive E, and then the guy that, I forget his name again, I'm terrible with names today, who I think was either behind or developed the Hacken Continuum. French guy with a little beard that was tied up in the...
Eric the Half a B.
Like Andrew Brooks' beard. Anyway, he was demonstrating some of these resynthesis techniques that the Hacken engine can do. Like you can resynthesize some, they got a female voice singing, and playing that back on one of those is just incredible. And so I need thank you very much, Chris Stack, again in the chat to the rescue. Christoph Duquesne, I think is how you pronounce that. But yeah, he was doing
more letters than it needed.
Ducker's knee.
So anyway, there we go. That is, ladies and gentlemen, that's a show.
Good Lord.
We are done. I just want to also say a big thank you to Andrew for his donation there, and to the massive donation from Tanith. Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated. That all goes into the kitty to pay the bills and keep the lights on.
No, it's to pay for my winter fuel bill. It says so.
Well, yeah. No, but you're a pensioner now. You get all that for.
He's been commenting a lot
moving
as well.
That.
So
they keep moving. Every time I have a birthday, it's further away.
And also, message in from Matt saying, "Thanks, Robbie. You made Sue's day. So thank you. Hopefully." That will cheer you up a little bit and make you feel a bit better. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Looking forward to seeing you. I guess the next time we'll see you will be in Norwich at Synth East in February.
I'll be there.
So, yes, there we go. And
I've just dropped a quick... Chris has got a 40% off any of these codes because at the moment...
Thank you for reminding me.
And there's a code there that I've just dropped into the chat, but you could maybe post it properly, Robbie.
I've got it here. Let me just post that. So
I appreciate it. I couldn't remember the coupon code when you asked me earlier, and I'm like, oh, come on. Fridays are one of those days when our memory leaves us.
If you go to Learning Modular, let me just get rid of that comment there. Learning modular. That I posted the code in the chat, and then we put it in a banner as well. Add the banner. There it is on the screen. 25BF.
Yeah, you go to the courses link, and then any of the courses, 40% off for a few more days. I was going to end it Monday, but since we brought it up today, I might extend it a little bit.
There you go. Yeah. So that's
very
what
kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for that. So go and avail yourself of one of those. You won't be disappointed.
Great
that's the
courses.
show. Thank you very much indeed, Chris, for coming on once again. Also,
Thanks
you've
for
got to
having
give
me.
a
And we're talking about Bob Moog Foundation. I'm really want
absolutely.
people to get into this instrument. It's particularly, this is a great instrument. I hope someone.
I can't wait
Is
to
it
see who wins
motorized?
We've also got to say a big thank you to, of course, the wonderful, the brilliant, the beautiful, the amazing Michelle Moog-Cusa, who arranged all of this and, of course, all the work that she does with the Bob Moog Foundation. So thank you very much to Michelle for that. I hope she's watching. I don't know if Craig's been in. Craig normally pops in the chat as well. If he's there, hi. Anyway, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to all you guys. As normal, thanks for joining the show and your contributions. It's incredibly valuable. And of course, thank you to everyone that's been watching. I hope you've enjoyed the last 2 hours. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. There's lots of stuff going on. Is that your hand raised there, or are you just airing your arm?
No, I was just trying to make it look like you're my puppet.
I wonder what my smile was all about.
Thank you, Nick, for rescuing it. He's been a member for 21 months. Thank you very much indeed for your kind words. And on that note,
Sorry, Robbie.
I'm off to go and catch up on some telly and a bottle of wine.
We're going to be paying for this for sure.
Mr. Spong, I will see you, I guess, around midday-ish
Yeah.
tomorrow, and we'll
I bought
try
the
and fix
emulator.
that.
I bought the emulator one up and put it in the front room.
Oh,
So-
good.
so-
Did it,
so it's
did
a
it
room
hurt coming through your throat?
Indeed.
Hey? Because I
yeah,
don't
so-
turn anything on in that workshop anymore. It just
No,
blows up.
it's too cold, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will be there, and I believe Matthew will have probably arrive before me, and will hopefully be knee deep in your Mac.
He's threatening at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, yeah, I don't blame him. He's got a lot of work
Did
to do.
Chris expect to end up in the Twilight Zone? Poor man.
No,
I mean,
but then none of us did. Thank you ever so much, gentlemen, and to all the audience, thank you for watching. Make sure you give us a subscribe so you know when the show is on again. We'll see you all very, very soon, in fact, next week. And have a great weekend. Take the greatest of care. See you all soon. Telly, bye!
bye.